In studio with us. Wednesdays, he takes time to join us, and that's Dr. Joe Congeni at Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital here on 1590 WAKR. Where are you starting today?
Hey, Ray, I want to talk about a thing that some people are calling the Toronto experiment. I'm calling it the Kawhi quotient. I want to get the opinion of these two smart sports medicine guys that are in the studio with me today.
Okay. Tony is calling us smart here.
Here's the deal. We talk a lot about young kids, overuse, overload, stress injuries, right, all the time.
Yep.
Well, does it happen at the highest levels of the professional sports? Well, this odd thing with Kawhi Leonard, right? So they picked him up, Toronto, maybe for a year. They just sat him out this year. There were many games he sat out. He sat out more than he played less than 3/4 of the games of the year. And they didn't give a reason of an injury or anything else in a high stress game. They just said, we don't want him to play at all because we want him ready for the playoffs. And how's that working out for Toronto?
Pretty good.
He's looking pretty good. He is really playing well and everything. And so what's the league going to say about this now? I mean, before, okay, a guy was nicked up or something. He wasn't. They didn't even give an injury report about him being nicked up or anything. He just didn't play a lot of games to be ready for the playoffs, and he's playing fantastic. So when we look at these numbers, what do these numbers mean to guys like you? Number 82, number 162, number 16.
Complete seasons.
Those are the seasons that professional athletes play, right? So we say 82 NBA games. Too many. Wow, that's way too many if you're playing all the time and back-to-backs. No doubt we know it's not good for health. And then on top of it, 15 to 25 playoff games. 162 in a lot of games in April and May where the weather just isn't conducive in the north. Are we going to cut back on 162? No way in the world baseball's going to cut back.
Economics won't allow it.
Economics for the money that they make and also the records. Baseball's so record-driven, they'll never cut back on that. What about 16 football games?
No way.
So we look at people like Doug Baldwin and Cam Chancellor, who retired this week at less than 30 because their bodies are beat up and stuff. Is the NFL going to go around and say, hey, it's better for safety, let's cut back? In fact, for sure, in our lifetime, in the next couple of years, they're going to go to 18 games and only 2 exhibitions. I think there's a good chance of 18. There's no doubt. So young guys like Doug Baldwin and Cam Chancellor, we saw right in our town at 162, but especially in the playoffs and World Series, what happened to wonderful pitchers like Andrew Miller and Cody Allen?
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what happened. We went for it that year in 2016, and these guys had bad 17s, worse 18. They just have not bounced back from that. So what about this deal with the Kawhi quotient about just play guys when you want to? Hey, what about the NBA regular season? Is it critical? Is it important? Do you have to play these games? But there's no doubt there's a component in those numbers of overuse and overload and stress injuries that are related to that in the professional game.
Especially when you talk about the games of football and the NBA. For the fans, they're going to want to go to the game and see Kawhi play. So I don't know if it will ever come to that, but there might be a limit of minutes participation. Who knows what this will go to, but maybe you have so many minutes per game that you are allowed to play, which actually could add strategy into the game. If Kawhi Leonard is only allowed to play, I'll throw out a number, 26 minutes a game is the number.
Yeah.
The coach would have to strategize that for the course of the game, cutting down those minutes. Does that help from a medical standpoint, Joe?
It definitely
compared to
helps.
Games?
It definitely helps. But games, there were times, and these were the high stress games. They picked games against the Bucks or teams they were battling with, the Boston Celtics. Higher stress games were the games they sat them out. And they told him, don't even travel with the team in a lot of these situations. And there's no question he looks like the freshest guy out on the court, doesn't he?
Yeah,
in the
does.
playoffs, he looks really good. Last year, he couldn't even play, wasn't playing at all. There was a lot of back and forth. Wow, how's the NBA going to sell those tickets for a lot of money around the court? But really what this experiment showed, same thing in the professional ranks as there is in kids and college that we try to talk about, overuse and overload, and we've got to try. So when you have some control over this as a parent, when you can say, I'm going to sign my kid up for one more league and one more, just you got to fight the urge to want to do that and take a season of the year off, 2 or 3 months, Take a few days of the week off, less than 5 days a week. Those are the numbers that we look at where the injury rate really starts to soar after that. So it truly is real what we're talking about. Now, everybody's body is a little bit different, but there's no question this professional sports example is clear cut, and they're not going to cut back on the number of games. There's no way.
Like in baseball, they've instituted the pitch count in the kids younger from high school on down. I think that's been a good thing in baseball, as long as everybody follows the pitch count.
As long as everybody follows.
Because they used to do an innings thing, Joe, and that sometimes, especially with the kids aged 9 to 14, some of these kids who would walk and walk and walk their guys, I mean, they'd throw 70, 80 pitches in 2 innings.
One of
but
the
they'd
earliest.
Say, well, he's got 4 innings.
Yeah, right. One of the earliest studies of our career, we went out to the local, I remember going to some wobble games right out in this area in the early part of my career, counting number of pitches per inning. And in baseball, it's about 14 in professional baseball. We saw people that were up 24, 26, 28 pitches an inning in Little League Baseball. So you're right. Pitches and innings, not so much. Pitch is a good thing. Thinking about ways to put a cap on participation, about playing too much, is going to keep kids healthier longer. But not only kids, even the college and the professional level.
Well, I was going to say, in the NBA, the three of us in this room don't get it. But when we're talking about players in the NBA, that 6'7", 6'8", 7 foot, and all that tonnage going up and down the floor on those bones and those feet and those knees and those hips, just wear and tear.
82 games in that short of a span, a period of time, 4 games in 5 nights, 3 games in a row. That just doesn't make sense at all, and it is really a recipe for significant problems. And here's these, people they're trying to keep healthy for 14 years and 15, 16 years to play. So, wow, what a badge of honor that LeBron played 82 games last year, every game he played in. But, wow, down the road somewhere that might cut back on his ability to, for instance, catch Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the all-time scoring
Didn't they say, I thought I read somewhere, that with all the playoff experience and games that LeBron has played in, that he's added another, 5 years?
I think
I think 5 years of games on those legs, because deep in the playoffs, you think all those best of sevens, if you're playing in 4 best of sevens a year, and then into the championship, that's 5 best of sevens, and most of them go 7. That's 35 games right there.
Yeah. And so what a great thing that he's got his own experiment going and coming up with ways to keep his body fresh after every game and everything like that, to try to beat Father Time at least a little bit. Try to get up to 15, 16, 17, 18. What do you think? Will he catch Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for?
I think so.
You think he'll get
it'll take longer than he probably would have wanted to, but he'll get it, and I think that's when you'll see the retirement. My question with all of this is that when you're in season and you're playing, whether it's baseball, one of the big things that has been a topic probably since the days when Billy Martin saw Al Leiter lifting weights, and he said, no, then if you want to strengthen your arm and you want to throw harder, play long toss. But it's not like that anymore, and guys are lifting weights during the season. It used to be, I'm in the off season, I'm going to bulk up, and then I'm not going to lift all year. Now you're seeing it in season. Are there more of these stress injuries because of the increased weightlifting?
I really don't think so to that. I really believe that the science of weightlifting has changed so much. I was just with a group of strength coaches yesterday, and they really changed the strength workout programs during the season. It's not the same kind of program as during the off season where you're adding bulk. During the season, you're trying to maintain and reduce the amount of tear down. Just maintain where you're at. In the old days, people lost so much weight. A guy like Denzel Ward, did you hear his interview recently about how much he lost last year? Weight-wise, and that he can't let that happen again this year. That's what the strength coaches are trying to do, is maintain them and then actually add on at the end of the season.
Good stuff, Joe. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, guys. Thanks. Have a great week.
Dr. Joe Congeni, Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital.